Joining us from New York is Jessie Spector. She's Program Director at Resource Generation, a group that seeks to help wealthy young people use their resources for social change. Does this sort of lobbying seem to be having any effect?
It does. I think that right now there's an incredible momentum in our society through the Occupy movement and through other venues where there's a mass mobilization where people are finally recognizing that a big structural shift needs to happen. And through the organizing of the patriotic millionaires, of wealth for the common good, and of resource generation is bringing a critical voice, which is that of the wealthy, actually advocating for higher taxes on themselves and really speaking out and saying it will be better for us too if there's a more equitable distribution of wealth.
Right, that's the point. They're not actually calling for a fundamental overhaul of the system like many of those protesting in New York and elsewhere are. They're simply trying to preserve the system. They're concerned about revolution, aren't they?
Well, I believe that there's many different tactics for how we make fundamental change. And one of them is very basic, which is an increase in taxation, which will provide more for the common good. And then there are other ways that I think many people at Occupy Wall Street and other places are advocating for, which is examining how the system is structured such that people are able to accumulate so much wealth in the first place, and that actually there needs to be shifts made in the system such that we can never get to a point again where there is such vast wealth disparity within this country.
Help us understand a particularly American phenomenon there of the poor in society seeming to advocate low or flat or zero taxes for the rich.
I believe that that there's a miseducation in this country, and that what needs to happen, and what I believe is happening through this momentum right now, is a popular discourse about wealth distribution that is actually examining some of the root causes for disparity and actually really helping people see that higher taxes on the wealthy will benefit them and will benefit all of society, and that actually there are reasons why structurally folks are able to amass so much wealth that very few people have the opportunity to access.
Right, but the Republicans say that that's just the American way.
I believe that there are certain structural ways. If you look at, for instance, how people get to their jobs on roads that are built and maintained by governments, bridges that are built and maintained by governments, healthcare that's provided by a government, or should be as it's rapidly declining, social security, there are basic social services that everybody benefits from that that are what actually help people succeed in this country. And as we erode that basic system, we're actually eroding the possibility of future generations to be able to succeed in the way that people have.
Jessie Spector, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, as the US tries to find a way out of its financial crisis, countries in Europe are trying to hit their deficit reduction targets. We'll go back to Darren.